6 days ago, a British tabloid asked the question, can Prime Minister Liz Truss outlast the shelf life as a head of lettuce? Complete with a live stream of a head of lettuce being a byproduct of lettuce. This morning, the head of device is dressed in celebratory attire because Truss announced her resignation on Thursday. Truss took over at Prime Minister less than 6 weeks ago, stepping in to replace Boris Johnson after the accumulated weight of endless scandal finally squeezed Johnson out of 10 Downing Street. With her resignation, she becomes the shortest-serving Prime Minister in the history of the UK going back to ever. The signs of an impending resignation came just hours after AP reported that Truss had vowed to use describing herself as a fighter, but a quitter. Her departure comes after the Conservative Party seems to have fallen into pure chaos over the past few weeks, with ministers resigning and the legislative process being powered by rebellion in the ranks and an inability to simply walk bills through Parliament without near riots breaking out. In the last week, Truss had fired her Chancellor, only to have this followed by the Home Secretary resigning. And all the while British markets have been responding to her proposed budgets, which included another round of massive tax cuts for the wealthy, with a big sell-off vote of no confidence. In September, Truss' brand new administration immediately disintegrated into finger-pointing after their first stab at a budget generated huge pushback from both right and left, sending markets into a time, in particular, massive unfunded tax cuts, on top of other unfunded tax cuts that had been executed under Johnson, immediately destroyed what little faith people were placing in comparison to calm a British economy already heading for the rocks. Just 3 days ago, Conservatives were forced to connect back to the speakers with a revised version of their budget scheme which scrapped almost everything that had been for the first version. The tax cuts were largely gone, but so was most of a plan that I had been touting to save the average UK citizen from rising energy prices by capping fuel costs. The result was a price that leads to offer nothing to anyone. It also seemed to see what everyone suspected from the beginning. Truss had no real plan at all. On Wednesday, the Conservatives actually won a vote that has a Labour attempt to ban fracking in the UK. But the process was so nice that even former Truss allies seemed disgusted. That included charges that people had been physically bullied into voting against the bill. And this may have been the last straw for Truss. The 6 weeks under Truss seemed to be much like the last few months under Johnson. One series of resignations after another. And no one willing to take the blame. And no one seemingly at the helm of the Conservative Party. What happens now is still in awe, with some suggesting that Johnson might just be all the running for a comeback after his brief vacation. YouTube video. Watch the full filmpic.twitter.com/weekkfgcp. Led by Donkeys. @ByDonkeys. October 19, 2022.